What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. If you're new to the channel, this time last year I released my top 10 must-own 4K UHDs. It was a physical media-based video that I was very much so excited to release to you guys, and I'm very glad that it had a very positive reception. There were many people that subscribed to my channel because of that video, and just overall, most of the comment section was very positive, and it was also nice seeing other people say the ones that they believe are the top 10 4K UHDs. And, you know, some of the ones I ended up checking out and they were amazing. So it was a great experience. And the last couple months I got to thinking, why not release another video? So I decided to work on it, and the last couple months I finalized it recently, and that is, you clicked on the video so you know it. This time around I'm doing another top 10 must-own 4K UHDs. Now, it goes without saying, but I gotta say it every time, this is a subjective video, meaning that my list is gonna be different from yours. That's what's great about film as an art form, is that it is subjective, not objective. So just throwing this out there, I'm not saying that this is the end-all, be-all list. No, I know your list is gonna be different from mine, and that's what I love about doing these type of videos. And speaking of which, I am looking forward to seeing what your top 10 4K UHDs are down below. So I will say this right away, I love physical media, if you couldn't tell. I think that physical media is very, very important, especially in today's day and age, where streaming services, you'll have a movie be on there one day and then the following month it's gone, and also the quality it's not at the same level as Blu-rays and 4Ks. It's not. That is something I will say is objectively true. 4K and Blu-ray discs are just stellar. I've seen some movies on streaming and then I watch them on 4K or Blu-ray, and I'm just like, it's mind-blowing the difference. So if you're clicking on this video and you're trying to be persuaded to getting to the format, I will say check out first my top 10 must-own 4K UHDs, because I will say that's a good prelude. And then if you liked those ones, then click on this video, come back to it, because these are ones, I will say, many of these are ones that are more geared towards like film buffs, people that love classic cinema. There are some that are very new, but there are a lot that are older. So just throwing this out there for some of you younger folks, but to you older folks, I'm sure you guys will have a smile on your face when you watch this video. So sit back, enjoy, guys. I will first give you guys my 5 honorable mentions, then I'll go from 10 to 1, with number 1, of course, being my number 1 top 10 must-own 4K UHDs additionally. So guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off, the first honorable mention we have Lone Star. So this is a 4K that is from Criterion, and I had never seen this film. I actually blind bought it because the premise sounded interesting, the cover looked amazing, and I have to say I am very happy that I blind bought this, because this film looks incredible. It is shot on film, it is from a 4K master, and visually it's outstanding. I can't imagine it looking any better than this. It looks stellar. Now, some of you might say, well, wait a minute, this doesn't have like a Dolby Atmos or even a 5.1. You are right, it does have a 2.0 surround. And that was something, it didn't affect my experience. In fact, if anything, I thought the sound mixing was really good too. Is there an argument to be made that, hey, it shouldn't be on this list because it's it's not a 5.1 or, 7.1 or Dolby Atmos? Sure, but you know what? This is my list, and at the same time, for me, video is most important, but audio is also really, really important. And that's why, for me, Lone Star, I'm like, I gotta put this on this list. Like, this film looks too good on this format. So if you are someone that likes collecting Criterions, and if you are a fan of Westerns and that are mysteries as well, and you like to know Country for Old Men, highly recommend checking out this film, because this film walked so that way No Country for Old Men could run. So I love Lone Star, and that's why I have it as an honorable mention. Next honorable mention, we have A Simple Plan. I'm just going to say this right away. If you didn't see my Sam Raimi director ranking video, this is my favorite Sam Raimi film. I think A Simple Plan is incredible. I saw it on DVD, and the DVD was fine, but I could tell when I was watching it that this is a film that needs a new master, and that once that happens, it will look incredible. And sure enough, it got announced that Era was doing this. And this was actually, funny enough, this actually originally had made my list of top 10 movies I want to see on Blu-ray. So the fact that it got a 4K release really made me happy. But it's not even the fact that I love this film as to why I made this list. It's that when you watch this film, The video quality is stellar. This is from a 4K scan, and the audio, it's a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 track, and it sounds really good as well. I love the the wintry atmosphere that the sound mixing evokes. It's really, really good. If you love those wintry type films, think like Fargo, I think you'll really like A Simple Plan. I will say this: I'm filming this video on May 24th of 2025, so I would highly urge you try to pick up this physical media release now, because this is a limited release. So this is the type of situation where if you're watching this a year from now, like if you're watching this in 2026, this might be one of those 4Ks that are hard to find. So please get on it, track this film down now while you can, because pretty soon it will be out of stock, and then it won't come back in stock, and then who knows if it's going to get a re-release. So highly recommend A Simple Plan, guys. The film's great. 4K quality is amazing. I love, love, love it. And again, the audio quality is top notch. And that's why I have this as an honorable mention. Next up, so I mentioned A Simple Plan, how I saw that on DVD. This next film I saw on DVD, Blu-ray, and finally 4K. And we have The Truman Show. So The Truman Show is one of those films that I saw in school on DVD, and then I would say a couple years ago, I got the Blu-ray out from my local library, and I thought the Blu-ray was solid. It was definitely one of those situations where I'm like, this is a visually pleasing film, but the video quality does have some issues. So sure enough, when a month after watching it on Blu-ray, it got announced that 4K release was coming down the pipeline, I was like, okay, I'm glad I didn't buy it on Blu-ray, because I'm going to be picking this up on 4K. And sure enough, this is a incredible looking 4K. It's shot on film, which I forgot to mention. A Simple Plan and Lone Star, they were both also shot on film. And that's the thing about this format. The 4Ks that I think are incredible are the ones that are shot on film. Don't get me wrong, digitally shot films can look great as well, but a lot of times you can cheapen out and just pick up the Blu-ray. But with the case of Truman Show, I would not say that. I would say that even though the Blu-ray, the Blu-ray, I don't think it got a remaster. So regardless, if you want this film to look the best way possible, pick up the 4K of The Truman Show. You'll be very happy. And this, surprisingly, and I'm saying surprisingly because it's a comedy, this has a Dolby Atmos track, which is something that I was shocked to hear about when it got announced. But it sounds really good. It's a very robust mix, of course, and then the score in particular is a standout. So I love The Truman Show. I love the fact that it's on the 4K, UHD format. So highly recommend you check out this film. I would even go as far as to say blind buy it, because it's a great looking film. But yeah, that was an honorable mention. Next up, we have The Big Lebowski. So The Big Lebowski, some of you might be surprised, which I forgot to mention. I'm sorry about this. A Simple Plan, Lone Star, those were both 100 gigabyte discs. Truman Show is 66 gigabytes, and The Big Lebowski are also 66 gigabyte discs, which basically means that they arguably could be a little bit more compressed than if they were on like a 100 gigabyte disc. But you wouldn't really think that while watching The Big Lebowski, because it just looks so healthy looking. It's one of the best looking comedies, and I think that as someone that has seen it on DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K, this is the best it's ever looked. And I think it will be the best that it's ever gonna look, because unless the 8K format actually gets kickstarted, I don't see that this getting like an 8K scan or anything. This is a 4K scan that looks very healthy, and also this mix is interesting. It's a DTS-X mix, which I had to look into it a little bit, because I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of mix is that? And apparently that's how it was formatted in the 1990s, like the sound mixing for the theater experience. So I thought that was very interesting, and I think that's the only DTS-X audio mix on this whole video that I'll be covering. But I thought that was very interesting. But it's a very interesting sounding film. I think it looks great, and I just think that overall, if you want a excellent looking comedy that also sounds great, it doesn't get much better than The Big Lebowski, and that's why I have it as an honorable mention. And the last honorable mention, this was so close to making my top 10. Next up, we have West Side Story 2021. So West Side Story, it is coming from a 4K scan. It was shot on film. This is a 66 gigabyte disc, but once again, similar to The Big Lebowski, you wouldn't be able to tell because it just looks so good. It is also Dolby Atmos, and because it's a musical, I think that aspect might be the strongest. I think that the visuals are amazing on the 4K format, but the Dolby Atmos is stellar. So this is, again, a film that if you love musicals, if you love Spielberg, I highly recommend you check this film out. It looks incredible on the format. I saw this in theaters, and then I saw it on, I think it was HBO Max. And this is definitely a lot better than watching it on streaming, 100%. So, again, highly recommend you check this film out. It looks incredible in 4K. And that's why I have it as an honorable mention. All right, guys. Now, kicking things off in my top 10. This is going to be a controversial pick, but you know what? I don't care because this is my list. My number 10, we have McCabe and Mrs. Miller. This is a film that I got out the Criterion Blu-ray from my local library, and I thought the Blu-ray looked incredible, sounded incredible. But as soon as I heard recently that it was getting the 4K treatment, I said to myself, I'm glad that I didn't buy the Blu-ray because I'm sure it's going to look even better on 4K. And it did. Don't get me wrong, the Blu-ray, it does look incredible. It is actually from the same 4K restoration. But here's the thing. Watching this film on the 4K format with a 100 gigabyte disc, letting it fully breathe, is just something to really experience. I think that some people that don't like film grain will say, oh, this is a terrible looking disc. And to that I say, well, you don't like film grain. So of course you don't like this disc. So if you are one of those individuals that doesn't like film grain, I will say avoid this film because it does have a very specific look. The third act, it's not as grainy, but that's, again, without spoiling the film, it's a very artistic choice that I think pays off in spades. But this is a film that's more so for people that love shot-on-film films. I think it looks excellent. The sound mixing is very experimental. It's very hard to hear early on, but again, that's by design. And the sound mix, this is one that I thought was interesting as well. The sound mix, it's an English LPCM 1.0, which is something I was like, wow, like that's very interesting in terms of the channel setting. So I think it sounds really good, but again, I will say this, the caveat being that this is a controversial choice because there are going to be some people that say, oh, I had to crank up the volume, or, oh my goodness, it's so grainy. And to that I say, these are artistic choices. The filmmaker, Robert Altman, wanted these aspects to be preserved, and watching it on this format, it is, and I think that it's the best that it will ever look. So, again, to grain haters, you're not going to like the look of this film or the sound of it, but to people that love film and can appreciate film as an art form, I say give this film a shot. I say blind buy it on 4K because it looks incredible and sounds incredible. So that's my number 10. Next up, my number 9, we have Eastern Promises. So Eastern Promises is one of those films that I first saw on DVD, and then I bought the Blu-ray, and then, of course, I bought the 4K from Kino Lore. And I have to say, this 100 gigabyte disc, it looks so good. The HDR is stellar, and just one of those things where when I was watching it, I'm like, it's wild to me that I've seen this on DVD, Blu-ray, now 4K, and I'm able to see how each format, it's looked better and better. I don't know if it's ever going to look better than this because it looks that great. In fact, I rewatched it recently, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely making the list. In terms of audio, it is a 5.1 surround, and it does sound really good. I think Howard Shore's score in particular in the sound mix works really well. So I love this film. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and I'm very happy to report back that the physical media quality of the 4K release is incredible. It matches the quality of the film. So if you haven't seen this film, if you do love films that are shot on film, highly recommend you check this film out. It looks incredible, and that's why I have it as my number 9. Next up, my number 8. This is going to be an interesting one to talk about because it's a limited release, but you can technically still buy it, but it's ridiculously expensive. My number 8, we have The Conversation. Is this ridiculously big? Is this ridiculously priced? Absolutely. The fact that this was, I forget how much it was. I try to forget about the pricing because it's very expensive. But I will say this. I've seen this on DVD. I've seen this on Blu-ray. And I've seen it on 4K now. And the 4K is light years better than any other format that you've seen this film on. This is the best possible way that it looks. It's preserved the intentions of the filmmaker, whilst at the same time, the sound mix is really good too. It's a DTS HT Master Audio 5.1 track. It sounds really good. And I think that the sound mix combined with the high octane quality of the visuals does a really good job of fitting the paranoia aspect of Gene Hackman's character. So I love this film, But I will say this, if you are tight on money, you're probably going to avoid picking up this film. But I will say, if you have a budget and there's one month where there's not really any new releases that you want to pick up, I will say I highly recommend you pick this film up, because I don't think it's ever going to get like a smaller release. But again, the other thing is that apparently it's a limited release, so get it while you can, because it is a film that, is it ridiculously priced? Yes. Does it look and sound amazing? 100%. That's why it's on this list. So love the conversation. Love the 4K quality of this. Shot on film. It is from a 4K master, and again, looks incredible. So that's my number 8. Next up, my number 7, we have Bluray. So Bluray is a film that I really like. I saw the DVD in middle school, and then the Blu-ray I watched a couple years ago. And the Blu-ray I thought was really good. But the 4K is outstanding. And I will say this is a Sony film. And what's interesting about Sony in regards to their physical media releases is that in the late 2010s, they would release their 4K on a 66 gigabyte disc. And then what would happen is, years later, when there was the anniversary for that film, they would then have it where it's like, hey, we're going to put it on a 100 gigabyte disc, and we're going to put it on Dolby Vision. So I have this disc is the Dolby Vision one. It is a 100 gigabyte disc, and it looks amazing. I'm glad that I waited to pick this up on 4K, because I had that option, and I, of course, wanted to go for that option. And it's an incredible sounding film. Like, the Dolby Atmos sound mix, it's out of this world. Like, in terms of audio mix on this list, it might be one of the best, if not the best, because it's insane. Like, when there's cannon fire going off, you feel as if it's going around the room. It's outstanding. So if you've been sleeping on this film, if you've been sleeping on this physical media release, I highly urge you to pick up the 4K, because it is incredible, and that's why it's on this list. Next up, this is another Sony release. That was my number 7. Next up, my number 6, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, this is a film that it's interesting, because it's technically not a 4K scan, because it's it's animated, and I think, to my knowledge, most animated films are 2K by design. So this technically is an upscale, but you know something? Watching this film, I never once thought that. It wasn't until I read up on it where I was like, oh, that was an upscale? Just really surprised me, because it looks amazing. And here's the other thing. It's a 100 gigabyte disc, and it's a Dolby Atmos sound mix. And the sound mix, it's out of this world, man. It is incredible. So if you like superhero films, if you love demo disc worthy material in terms of the visuals and the audio, definitely one to pick up. It looks and sounds great, and that's why it's my number 6. And now we get to the nitty gritty. Top 5, guys. So my number 5, we have Schindler's List. So Schindler's List, this is a 100 gigabyte disc. It does have a Dolby Atmos track, and the track is really, really good. But similar to Glory, The Conversation, Eastern Promises, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, this is also a film that's shot on film, and it is from a fresh 4K scan. And it's very healthy looking. I've seen this film on DVD. I've seen it on Blu-ray. And I hands down have to say this. The 4K is the best possible way you can experience this film. It looks stellar. Is this a film that you'll probably put in to showcase to friends and family? Probably not, because it's a very depressing film. But if you're by yourself, you can definitely appreciate how incredible the video and audio quality is to this film. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and I'm happy to report back that the physical media release matches the quality of the film, which is, again, a masterpiece. So, one of the best 4Ks, in my personal opinion, and that's why I have it as my number 5. Next up, my number 4, this is going to be an interesting one to talk about. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, my number 4, we have Avatar, The Way of Water. So, here's the thing. I mentioned about my number 8, The Conversation, how I will admit that the priciness of the packaging for The Conversation is a little outrageous, but I would still recommend it. This is outrageously priced, but at the same time, it's 100% worth it, because what they don't tell you is that the original release of Avatar, The Way of Water, it was an HDR. It wasn't Dolby Vision. this has Dolby Vision. And also, it's a 100 gigabyte disc, and it also has Dolby Atmos. So the Dolby Vision really, really makes the visuals pop off the screen in a way that honestly matched the same quality of when I saw this film twice in theaters. So again, don't cheapen out. If you are trying to decide which to go for, spend the extra money, buy this 4-disc set, because I promise you, it's so worth it. Just for the Dolby Vision, because my goodness, seeing the visuals on display are incredible. The Dolby Atmos track is also incredible. I know I mentioned scores earlier for certain other Dolby Atmos tracks, but the score for this is also stellar. And I also love the gun sound effects. I think that there's a lot to appreciate of this Dolby Atmos. And again, it's just incredible. This is, I believe, besides Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, those are the only 2 films that aren't shot on film that I have on this list. But Avatar: The Way of Water looks so, so good that I can't in good conscience to say to someone, you know what? Get the Blu-ray. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm saying don't even get just the regular 4K. Get the 4K with the Dolby Atmos. This one, please. You'll thank me later. I promise. So that was my number 4. Next up, my number 3. This is one that is a recent addition to my collection. My number 3, we have... Let me get this out. Gandhi. So Gandhi is a film that I first saw in, I think it was elementary school, and it was on DVD, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the film, but years later I decided to give it a second chance when I was doing my 1980s Academy Award Best Picture nominees ranking list, and I saw it on Blu-ray, got the Blu-ray out at my local library, and I thought it looked really good. I was going back and forth on if I wanted to pick up the 4K, because the thing is, you can technically find the 4K because it came out years ago. It was a part of the big Columbia Pictures set. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm sure it will get released down the line. And sure enough, it was recently announced that Gandhi was going to get the Steelbook edition. And I'm glad that I waited, because this film is mind-blowing. Like I said, I've seen it on DVD, I've seen it on Blu-ray, but seeing it on 4K, it felt as if I was watching it for the first time. The video quality was that great. Shot on 4K, 4K restoration. This has a Dolby Atmos track as well. And similar to most of these other ones, this also has a 100 gigabyte disc, and it's great because it leaves a lot of breathing room for the film. And I think what's also nice is the fact that it's broken into 2 discs. Forgot to mention that. Because this film is, I think it's 3 hours and 10 minutes long. So I think the fact that each disc has 100 gigabytes worth of possible data is really good, because it lets both discs breathe. So this is a film that also there's a lot of special features. I forgot to mention that with a lot of these, because most of the time these 4K releases, the 4K disc doesn't have special features. A lot of times the Blu-rays have the ported over special features, which is why I'm not really talking about them. But there are plenty of special features on this this Blu-ray. I will say there's like a bonus disc for that. So this is a really, really good addition. If you love history, if you love just seeing films shot on film that just look incredible, this is the film to get. I really, really like Gandhi, and I think the physical media presentation is just so, so good. Please, do yourself a favor, pick this up on 4K. I promise you, it's well worth it. So that was my number 3. Next up, we have another Sony release. My number 2, we have The Bridge on the River Kwai. So from what I understand, The Bridge on the River Kwai got released a couple times on 4K. And when it got originally released on 4K, it was 66 gigabyte discs with HDR. I got the reprint of it when it came out, I believe. And this has, from what I understand, this does have Dolby Vision. And it is a 100 gigabyte disc, so that's good. But this film, my goodness, the Dolby Atmos disc is, it's so good. I think one of the big things, without spoiling anything, is the famous scene that happens in the third act. When I watched this film on 4K, I literally played that scene back a couple times because I was so impressed with how great it sounded. The visuals are also amazing. I think the video quality is stellar. It's a 4K master shot on film. It looks very, very healthy. One of the best films in the 1950s, and just overall one of the best 4K releases I've ever seen. So if you've been sleeping on this film, I highly recommend you check this out. But once again, if you are someone that doesn't like grain, I would avoid this. But for everyone else, please check this film out. Buy it on 4K. It's well worth it to add it to your collection. So that was my number 2, and I'm not going to lie, my number 2, that was one that would have been my number one, but there's one that I've rewatched a couple times recently, and I will say this, my number one is going to be controversial amongst some of the 4K community. I don't care. My number one, though, is one that, depending on the comment section, I want to hear some people's opinions out on the reissue. But my number one, still, with the original release, I love it so much that I'm putting it as my number one. My number one, drum roll, we have Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is a film that, similar to The Conversation, is directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and this is a film that I own the 25th anniversary edition. Similar to some of these other Sony titles, there was a reissue. There was a 30-year anniversary edition, which was a steelbook. It's a 100 gigabyte disc, and it has Dolby Vision as opposed to HDR. This has HDR, and it is a 66 gigabyte disc. But you know something? It looks incredible. Sounds incredible, too. It is a Dolby Atmos. And I've been going back and forth, and if I want to upgrade, so to speak, with the 30-year anniversary, because it has Dolby Vision and also it's a 100 gigabyte disc. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, is it worth it to upgrade? Because you see, it's my number one. I think it looks and sounds incredible. I mean, holy cow. This is the type of film that, you know, when people say, what's so great about the 4K format? This is one of those discs that I would put in. But again, it is controversial because apparently years and years and years ago when they did the 4K restoration, apparently some of the framing got cut off a little bit from what I understand. If that's the case, I mean, that's not really necessarily Sony's fault. That's Francis Ford Coppola's fault because he helped out with the restoration. So is it to the point where it's like George Lucas and James Cameron where they ruined the film with AI and digital tinkering? No, but it is something that might throw some people off, and it might be one of those things where people say, how dare you have this as your number one? But for me, that aside, I still think that it looks incredible. Like, holy cow. I can't get over the usage of red in this film. Like, this is, again, a prime example of why I love the 4K format. I saw this film for the first time on DVD, and seeing it go from DVD to 4K was just literally day and night. So I love this film. I think it gets better with each viewing, but more importantly, the physical media release, it's stellar. But again, I might be going with the 100 gigabyte disc with Dolby Vision, but depending on what you guys say in the comment section, again, I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. But either way, love this film. That's why it's my number one. But hey guys, that's my video of another top 10 4K UHDs in my personal opinion. Let me know what yours are in the comment section down below. I'm very curious to see it because, again, I know everyone's list is going to be different. I'll also put my link for my Blu-ray collection and 4K collection so you can see which ones I own. And as always, if you haven't done so already, be sure to follow me on Letterboxd, Patreon, subscription, notification bell, and I will catch you guys later.